Welcome back to another In the Kitchen with Lifestyle with Kim Litvak. Today, oh my goodness, we're doing pretzels. When it's nice and starting to get a little chilly outside, it's fun to break out pretzels. So that's what we will be going over today on Lifestyle with Kim Litvak. Okay, so the first thing, as you can see in front of me, it's not a ton of ingredients. There are a couple different things that I do in my pretzels that make them just a smidge different than others that I think is just absolutely perfect, but there's not a lot that goes into them. Really, the dough itself is gonna do most of the work before we start to form them. I went ahead and added 1 packet of active dry yeast into my bowl already, and then I'm gonna add 1 1/4 cups of warm water. I usually try to get that, like when you take a shower and it's nice and toasty, it's kind of what you want your water. You don't want it to get over like 110 because then it just kills your yeast, and the yeast doesn't really like to die. The other thing that I do that is different, I don't use granulated sugar, I use powdered sugar. I think that that just adds like the subtle sweetness to it instead of like that overpowering granulated sugar to it. So with this, we're adding 3/4 of a cup plus 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. So it'll be 3 of these. Make sure to level it off because we are baking. And then we had the 2 tablespoons additional. Perfect. Now we'll just kind of stir that up together. No need to put in another something to get cleaned. Just use your tablespoon you just used. I like to let my dough sit when it's a yeast dough for about 10 minutes, not the 5 minutes everyone always says. I just think you get a better result with your bread products. So we're gonna let this sit for about 10 minutes and we'll be right back. This has been resting for just a smidge over 10 minutes. As you can see, the yeast is actually activated. So you can tell a foamy difference to it. You wanna make sure when you get to this stage, your mixture is looking like this. Otherwise your yeast could be dead, and anything you do beyond this point is just senseless. You're not gonna have the product that you think you're gonna have at the end. As you can see, it just kind of looks like foaminess. And now that our yeast looks like this and it's ready to go to the next step, the things that I add next, I go in a particular order just because I just always have. So I usually go with flour first before I put in salt, because salt actually prevents the yeast from eating and continuing to become active. So you definitely need salt in there. Salt in baked goods, and especially in a bread item, is super important. But with this, we're gonna add 3 3/4 of a cup. I have all-purpose unbleached flour here. So I'm gonna add 3 3/4 cup. One more, there we go. And then I like to add the salt, which this case, we've got 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. So I'll just use the 1/2 teaspoon and do 3 of those. I'm just using kosher salt. You can use table salt if you want. I don't actually think I have table salt in this house. So I'll just use kosher. And then from there, we've got 2 teaspoons of vegetable oil. Woo. And don't knock your mixture over before you have a chance to finish it. You don't even have to get out a mixer, and I'm just gonna mix it by hand until it starts to come together. And if your dough looks like it needs just a smidge more water, just add just a smidge. Water goes a long way. And the same thing with flour. If for some reason it looks too wet, you can add more. And now we're just gonna flour our surface a bit, and we're gonna get the dough out. And I like to usually flour the top of it a little bit too. Just keep working it, bringing in more flour. And when you're kneading, you're bringing it back on itself and you're just pushing it through. Just kind of put it into a bowl. And then I just take a smidge more oil, just pour just a spot in the bowl. And just kind of roll it around a little bit. And then I plop the dough in there, and I'm going to cover it with a tea towel and let it rise in a draft-free, warm place for about 45 minutes to an hour. Our bread has had a chance to, or our pretzels, I should say, has had a chance to rise and double in size. So we're just going to take them out onto the rolling mat here. We're just going to cut it into pretty much 8 even portions. So the best way to do that is right down the middle. And I just do this, that, and that. Perfect. Now in the meantime, I will be making a cheddar jalapeno sauce and a honey mustard dipping sauce to go with these, which is, oh my gosh, so excited about both of those. I went ahead and put 2 small jalapenos in the broiler, under the broiler for about 10 minutes and let them get dark all over, and then put them in this bowl covered tightly with saran wrap, and you want to let them sit for about 15 minutes, and then you can peel them, chop them, seed them, all that good stuff. But that'll be coming up for the sauce here in just a little bit. So then you want to take each piece and you just want to start and put a little flour on it, make it easy, and then just start rolling them out as long as a rope as you can get, lightly pressing out like this as you do it, and always start from the middle going to the ends. Otherwise you'll get an end that's like really slender, or really slender in the middle that it's almost breaking. So you want to do it evenly each time. Now the best way to do this is, you just kind of flip it over itself. And one double in the middle there. In the meantime, I'm just going to put it on this piece of parchment paper. We have the baking soda because we'll mix that with hot water here in a little bit, and we'll give these a nice little dunk. That's what gives pretzels its pretzel-ness. If you don't do that step, it's not a pretzel. So the baking soda, one, helps with browning, but it gives it that specific type of pretzel texture. Like if you ever go into like a pretzel bun or whatever, it gives it that kind of texture, and it gives it a specific type of flavor as well. So it's definitely, this is not a step that you can skip when we get to it. And really, once you get these going and you put them in this, once we have it filled with water, you can top these with anything you want to top them with. You can make everything pretzels, of course salted pretzels, which we'll do here today with our dips. You can make cinnamon sugar, you can make Parmesan, you can make pizza, put like pepperonis all over them. Really, the world is your oyster, anything that you would like. Or you could just take like one of these and wrap it around a hot dog, and you could have like pretzel dogs. Perfect. So we have those all shaped. Now I will go make up our baking soda and hot water mixture, and we'll go from there. So I've got all of our pretzels shaped. I've got 4 cups of very, very hot water here. To that, I'm going to add half of a cup of baking soda and just stir that to combine. And then in the meantime, I did get a double layer of paper towels because you're gonna wanna submerge, take off any excess, and then put it on your pan. So I did go ahead and do Silpat on my pans for even cooking instead of like parchment or what have you. But if you don't have Silpats, you could just use a regular pan. Like, you don't have to do anything special to it. You could also parchment line it if you're like me and strongly dislike having to wash pans. So we're gonna wanna do 4 to each pan. You definitely don't want to crowd them because then they'll just simply steam and they won't get that golden brown delicious that we really all want. So I'll just start with the one that's closest to me. Now that we have all of our pretzels that have gotten in the swimming pool, taken its bath, and are now over here, I'm going to do salted pretzels. If you wanted to do different flavors, either you will continue with the salt, or if it's a cinnamon sugar, you'll want to do that after they come out of the oven. But we're just going to do salted pretzels today. So I did get a coarse sea salt, and we'll just shake that all on. Now, since they did take that little bath, the salt's going to adhere just a little bit easier. Okay, so while we have the pretzels about to go in the oven, these actually don't cook for very long, so I want to get a head start on my jalapenos. And really, you can use the paper towel. That's the part that's not too damp, and just kind of rub that blackened skin off of it. Now that I've peeled the smoked roasted jalapenos, I'm just gonna cut the tops off, slice them down the center, remove the seeds. If you like it spicy, just leave the seeds. I know someone who probably would like that. And it's not perfect. I mean, there are still some seeds, but for the most part. So now we've got 8 ounces of sharp cheddar cheese that we're just gonna go ahead and shred ourselves. You can use the pre-shredded, but it has like caking things on it that also inhibits its ability to melt. So we're just gonna start without those obstacles. And it's just that easy. I've got a pot on the stove. I'm just gonna put it, about medium-low heat. And I'm gonna put 2 tablespoons, I know, shocking for the lifestyle, Kim Litvak, only 2 tablespoons. Trust me, I won't disappoint. There's more coming. But I'm gonna go ahead and get that melted. As soon as that starts to melt, I'm gonna add the roasted jalapenos to it. And then we'll start to make what's called a roux, where we add flour and all that good stuff. But I'm gonna let the butter melt, and in the meantime, I'm gonna get the pretzels into the oven. Add that in. I added the 2 tablespoons of butter, melted that, added the roasted jalapeno that we had that we chopped up and de-seeded, and then I added 2 tablespoons of unbleached all-purpose flour to create like a roux. So that's just been cooking here. So now we're gonna add 1 cup of milk. And we're gonna let that cook on, again, on a medium low, because it's milk, we don't want it to like burn on the bottom until that starts to get thick. And then when that happens, I'll remove it from the heat and add all that fabulous cheese. So in the meantime, while we're waiting for our roasted jalapeno cheddar sauce to get done, I thought I would go ahead and get a jump start on the honey mustard dipping sauce as well. For that, we're gonna do a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. No cooking involved with this one. This one is just a dip and stir, basically. And then from there, we got about 2 tablespoons of honey, 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, and about 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. And then you just stir. So we're just gonna remove that from the heat, and we're gonna add all of our cheddar cheese to it off the heat. And whisk that in until it melts. Now to the pretzels, which we allowed to cool just a smidge. I went ahead and melted just about a stick of butter, just shy. And I'm just gonna brush those all over these pretzels, obviously, liberally. So now that our pretzels have been slathered in butter, perfectly seasoned with salt, we have our roasted jalapeno cheddar sauce and our honey mustard dipping sauce as well. Now is the moment of truth. Before the rest of my family and friends get here to enjoy the rest of the pretzels, we better make sure that they taste okay. So I'll take this one, which is the smallest, because I'm nice that way. I can't wait to try this one. This one is probably gonna surprise me. That's good. Not too strong on the jalapeno. And then you've got, of course, your honey mustard sauce. That's beautiful. No matter how you enjoy these, even if it's just the way it is, these pretzels are absolutely perfect. They're cooked perfectly. Definitely, like on a Sunday afternoon, get the kids out, make pretzels. They'll have so much fun. Until next time, I hope you enjoy your pretzels and keep cozy, as fall is definitely on its way. And I can't wait to share more recipes with you. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe down below. Hit that bell so you don't miss any future episodes. And until next time, have a great day. Chase your tails. Chase your tail, Chloe. Who wants a pretzel? Good girls. Oh, Chloe approved.